Okay. Hi everybody, it's Lorraine and Angela here again tonight, and we've just come on to do another video for you. Quite an important one, wouldn't you agree, Angela?
It's very important,
Yeah,
definitely.
absolutely. Yeah. So tonight's video, the subject of it is all about your protection, your spiritual protection. We're doing this because in our last video that we did with the Halloween video, things that go bump in the night, I realized that we touched on the protection, but we didn't actually tell anybody, I don't think, how to do it other than mentioning the Lord's Prayer. I don't think we mentioned anything else, did we, Angela?
No, we didn't.
No,
we didn't.
No. So with a swift kick up the bum, we're back again, and we are going to give you information on how to protect yourself from any energies that are, don't particularly want to say not of a loving vibration, but any energies that are not any good for you. I think that's the better way to put it. We will tell you what we know, and you know, there's going to be a lot that we haven't mentioned because there are probably so many different ways of protecting yourself. But the ones we've spoken about, both Angela and myself have used, so we can speak from experience. Yeah. Okay, then. So, excuse me a minute. I'm going to let Angela take the first one and ask you off the top of your head, if you had to teach anybody about protection and there was only one thing you could teach, what would you suggest?
Right. Yes, there were people that I had to teach. Especially there was one particular person that came to my circle, and not only was he in my circle, he was in another circle as well. But unfortunately, his particular circle didn't believe in protection.
Right.
And I found this very, very disturbing, actually, because whenever I ran my own circle, that's the first thing we did. We protect the home, protect each other, our family, or whatever, because you're just opening yourself up. You're inviting spirit to come in, and you don't know who you're inviting. So one of the easiest, I want to say, is that we taught the students, for a better word, is protection of a white light.
Yes.
Putting yourself in like a white light, like an egg.
Yes, I know.
Completely around your body, the top and under your feet. You must never forget your feet.
Yes.
Because things can go through your feet, so you need to protect it. And then you can envelop yourself around with a purple cloak or whatever colour cloak that you feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
And mine was always purple. It was always purple. And making sure covering your third eye and your throat.
Yes.
Because is where your chakra points are.
Yeah.
And so you're covering everything. And
yes.
then, you know, for a good measure, you might even put another lot of light around you, but it's everything is done in your mind. That's the easiest one.
Yeah.
And then you can sort of, as you go on, you'll be doing, your work progresses. You'll be inviting more and more spirit to come in, and you'll be meeting different people, and you will find ways of learning how to protect yourself.
Yes.
I will give you another one. One of the ones that I was taught is to go inside a pyramid.
Oh, yes, I've heard that. Yes.
Inside a pyramid.
Yes.
Right? So I'm just sitting in it or standing in it, and then protecting that pyramid with, I know what it was: earth, wind, fire, and water.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
4 elements.
Yes.
All right. And then putting a white light around that. Now you try and get the spirit coming through that.
Yeah.
And again, not forgetting the base.
Yes.
Don't forget that one. What about you?
Yeah. Yeah, I've used the pyramid. Yeah, I can totally recommend that. When I first started out learning about all this spiritual stuff, for want of a better word, yeah, we was taught to use the white light, and it suited us. It was very easy to picture. Another way that was taught, especially to beginners, was the bubble of light. Same principle, just, you know, white light, but within a bubble. But what I did find that sometimes, depending on where your pathway took you, the white light sometimes was not always enough. So I remember, after having a particularly vicious psychic attack, being given the image by spirit of a blue diamond. In my mind, I know diamonds are the hardest, one of the hardest things on the earth plane. And the blue for me represented Archangel Michael. And I wanted something that would absolutely do the job where this other person was concerned. And that's what was given to me. And I was quite surprised. I was actually walking up the road when I got the image, so I wasn't even sitting down and thinking about it. And that was what came to me, and I used that for quite a while. With the blue, which I mentioned, like the Archangel Michael, I mean, many angels bring their protection, but the most common one, I feel, is Archangel Michael, because he carries his sword of light and his shield of light. So another way, if you feel inclined to go down using the angelic energies, of course, you can ask for his wings of light to surround you. A lot of people will ask for his blue cloak to surround you, because he comes in on the color blue, actually a beautiful blue he comes in. Another thing that I've just remembered that I will just quickly tell you, if you are having problems pulling yourself away from somebody, unless you're in that relationship, whatever it is, friendship, whatever, unless you're in that relationship for a karmic reason, you can ask Archangel Michael to cut the cords of that relationship with his sword of light. And I had to do that once years ago, and it actually takes 3 days. And I physically heard the words, "It is done," after I'd done that. And it was really emotional, because I had to pull myself away from somebody. And I actually read about this in a book. I was given a book. It was quite a big book, actually, with pictures in, and I was given the book, and the exercise was in there, and I did it, and it worked really well. The thing that made it work so well was I still interacted with this person, but my reactions were different. So whereas before I'd used that, this person would make me feel quite emotional. I didn't know whether I was coming or going. I was really energetically in quite a bad place. But when I used that, what I found was the effect that this person normally would have had totally changed, and I felt more in control of the situation, and gradually the relationship with this person petered out. And it was so wonderful, Angela, because I mean, this was years ago, you know, I hadn't been involved in spiritual church long. And this person, he was a big thing on my spiritual pathway, because he was one that helped me go from being in the spiritual church to actually learn all about it. And he was with me a great deal of the time, but which was brilliant. But then after a while, it was no good for me at all. And I knew I had to break the relationship with him, but I didn't know how to do it, because I felt like I was a bit under the thumb, if you get what I mean.
I know. Yeah.
And when I used that with Archangel Michael's protection, it made so much difference. I can thoroughly recommend it. Light a candle, ask Archangel Michael to come in and cut the link with his sword of white fire. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah. What else have you got for us?
Well, right. Yeah. You mentioned about that experience, cutting the cord. You know, when you meet somebody, I mean, you know, you're out minding your own business and everything, and somebody comes to you, think, hello, how are you? And they always say, I'm fine. And they're feeling down and you're feeling quite happy.
Yeah.
And
I know where you're going.
And you're finding you're being unhappy and they're starting to be happy.
Yeah.
You know, reverse role. And I used to find this really frustrating. I used to keep on thinking, why is this happening?
Yeah.
And then I can't remember whether it was Spirit told me or somebody's actually told me what to do. And they said, what we call them is a psychic leech. I know that sounds an awful name, but that's the only thing that we can describe it, because it feels like somebody's sucking your energy away from you.
Yes.
And so what somebody said was, when you're feeling this happening, yes, put your protection, but also put your hand in front of your solar plexus.
Yes. Yes.
Stop them taking your energy away.
Yeah.
And then you'll find that they're thinking, what's going on? They know something's going on. Subconsciously, on that energetic level, they know something's going on because they hang on a minute, I'm not getting the fix, if you like.
Yes.
That whenever they meet you, they feel really, really good.
Yes.
And they're not getting fixed anymore.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. You've just put your hands in front of your solar plexus.
Yes.
And it protects you.
Yeah.
Send loving thoughts to them, you know.
Yes.
So so that's that one.
Yeah.
One of the things that I find is that, I don't know if you find this, being as what we are, what we call us empaths. You know, we just pick up on everything.
Yeah.
And whenever I go to a hospital for an outpatient's appointment or whatever, or even to visit a patient for that matter, it took me a long time to realise this, and I couldn't understand it. I was fine and before I went to the hospital, but when I was walking around, I started to become ill.
Yes.
And I started becoming shaky, and all sorts of different things were going on, and I just couldn't understand it. And then Spirit says to me, loud in my ear, close yourself down.
Yeah.
And I said, well, why? They just said, close yourself down.
Yes.
I went, okay. And then they said, put all your protection up.
Right.
It's fine. And then I could guarantee after about 2-3 minutes, I started to feel a lot better and a lot more comfortable.
Yes. Yeah.
And because you've got to remember, because in hospitals, you've got people dying, you know, all the trauma and everything that's going on. You know, it's been in the building.
Yes.
And you're taking that all on board.
Absolutely.
And, so, and that one lesson that Spirit did teach me. You know.
Yeah.
And it's not just hospitals, you know, it's wherever you go, if you're going into a place.
Yes.
I remember, you know, Worcester Castle,
Yes. Yeah.
right? Worcester
Mm.
Castle. Well,
Mm.
my daughter went down and had a look around, and she went down into the cellars.
Mm.
Bless her. She didn't know anything about protection or anything, but
No.
boy, did she pick up things.
Yeah.
And she was really frightened. So
Yes.
yeah, so for anybody who
Yeah.
goes into a building or a place, that is what to do, is to
Yeah.
learn. I think will be another chapter, actually, another
Yeah.
video to talk about chakras,
Yeah.
is to close those down and
Mm.
protect yourself.
Yeah.
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 But yeah,
Absolutely.
you had some amazing stories with
Yeah.
your protection.
Yeah. Well, as you're saying, with public places, we you know, I don't go shopping that or often, but when I do, especially if I'm walking up the high street and it's really busy, um I suddenly had this image come to me one day, which I felt I didn't ask for it. It sort of appeared in my mind because I remember walking up the high street and just thinking to myself, there's so many people here, and to be honest, everyone looked miserable, and it was
Yeah, they
like,
do, don't they?
yeah, yeah, and I thought, oh, you know, there must be a lot of different energy, and not necessarily bad energy, but energy that's not good for us to
Awful.
carry. And then all of a sudden, I had an image of a fountain of golden light. So immediately I put myself in this fountain. So it's like I'm in the middle of the fountain, the golden light's coming up the middle of me, out of the top of my head, over and down, and continually a continual flow, with the intention that anything that is caught up within that area between me and, you know, the outside of the fountain is automatically cleansed and purified. And I don't always remember to do it, or I didn't at the time. I didn't always remember to protect myself. But I always thought, well, even if I remembered at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and I'd been up since 8, do it, because a little bit is better than nothing at all. And when I was running my groups, and that's what we always forget, and I said, try to think of it as an item of clothing. So when you get out of bed and you get dressed, try and get into the habit of putting this, however you visualize your protection, this energetic protection over yourself, as another item of clothing. And that way you'll get used to doing it, you know, and you'll create a habit. But I found it's very hard visualizing the fact that just doing this with your thought can make a difference. But when you think of the universe in terms of energy and vibration, you can understand it immediately. But for what I would say, for those people who have trouble with visualizing, because a lot of people do, don't worry about it, because just in your mind, you know what a fountain looks like, you know what a pyramid looks like. So in your mind, just say, I am putting myself in a pyramid, or I'm putting myself in a fountain, with the intention that it protects and clears anything that comes to you, because the intention that is, you know, as well as the action, but it's the intention that's important. Because I know quite a lot of people, it's like with meditation, they can quite happily listen to something, but they have a lot of trouble visualizing it. So you know, if use something that you know, bit like this lamp here, like I don't know if you can see it, this lamp down here, you know, if I had trouble visualizing it, I was like, okay, imagine myself standing underneath it, or something like that. Anything that's going to put that energy, you know, that image in your mind. That's why I've mucked my light up now, haven't I? Never mind. What else have you got for us?
Right. The other thing I've just remembered, actually, because like you, I too have been psychically attacked. And I also had these grotesque beings, I think, and they were surrounding me. Okay.
Right.
And I was having a lot of negative thoughts being sent to me as well.
Yes.
And this was the time that I was running my spiritual centers.
Right.
And I don't know what was going on there, but this was actually happening to me. And I couldn't understand why nothing seemed to be going right. And I seemed to be angry all the time.
Right.
And happy, and I thought, this isn't me. I'm not that sort of person. Yeah, you'll get bad days, but when it goes on for a week or two, and you think, no, there's something wrong here.
Yes.
And a medium friend of mine said to me that that I was being psychically attacked, and I went, okay, that makes sense.
Yes.
And so what we did was, it got me to imagine myself inside mirror, all mirrors all around me.
Yeah.
Completely around me.
Yes.
Okay. And so any negativity that was being sent to me would be bounced back. Okay. Never got to me.
Yes.
And so how we dealt with these little demons, if you like, for want of a word, because you could see them in the mirror. You know, you were walking around, you can see the reflection of them.
Yeah.
And again, we asked for Archangel Michael, or we got pure light of God, bringing that down.
Yeah.
And because, as you know, dark doesn't like light, and they just completely disintegrated. And believe it or not, once I dealt with all of that, I felt so much better.
Yes.
But that was a lesson for me.
Yeah.
And, you know, anybody can do that. They just imagine they've just put in these mirrors around them.
Yes.
I mean, it's not just for negative or something, you know.
No.
People being psychically attacked. It's just putting yourself. It's an extra barrier. It's that reflection, isn't it? It's just
totally.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, you know, when I first started knowing about healing and things like that, I would walk past someone and immediately pick up their headache. I would walk past someone, pick up their toothache. Gary would come home from work, he'd have a bad day, and as soon as he came in, I'd pick up everything that had gone on. I wouldn't necessarily know what it was, but I would feel my energy go from up here to down here. So the protection, you know, you've heard the saying where, say, if someone's had an argument and they've gone, and someone else comes in and says, well, I don't know what's gone on there, but you could cut that atmosphere with a knife. And that is because of the residue of the energy that's still left in there. So, it's like, say, it's not saying that everything is bad, everything is terrible, and everything is scary. It's just protecting you from anything that is not of a loving vibration or not going to do you any good. Yeah, absolutely.
The other thing is, I've just been brought to my mind is we always talk about protecting ourselves, but we also need to remember is put a protection around our home.
Absolutely, yeah.
And what I do is I ask for the white light. And apex of the roof, on the outside of the house, outside the whole of the house, including under the foundation. And that was also that extra peace of mind. So I mean, I used to do that a lot when I was running circles, you know, or doing spiritual work. And when I did had my spiritual centers, I had the responsibility for looking after everyone who came through those doors,
Yes.
and to make sure they were safe at all
Yeah.
times.
Mm.
And that's what I used to do wherever I was.
Yes.
I used to put, the protection around the building, and not
Mm.
only that, I used to get Archangel Michael and some of the angels to stand in the corners of each of the room of
Yes.
the building.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just to add that bit more protection as well.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. I know. With regards to my house, I've not done it to anybody else's house, but I've taught them how to do it. I've used what's called the platinum net. So platinum, combination of the gold and silver and white energy. And if you visualize it like, say like a kitchen sieve, you know, a very, very fine mesh. And within your mind's eye, you would imagine bringing this huge mesh right the way through your physical house, horizontally, vertically, diagonally, however you want, with the intention that it catches anything in it that is not of a light or loving vibration. So I mean, it could be anything, you know, it could be sort of, if someone comes into your house from outside and they've been you know, and they've got something with them, not necessarily an entity, but like we said before, you know, bad energy because of what they've been through or what they've seen or whatever, then it can catch that as well. And then when I first did that, I thought, what do I do with it? What do I do with it? Now I've got it. And my thing was, well, I'll give it to God. So I held it up and visualized it going up to God or to source, you know, whatever your interpretation of God energy is. That's how I visualized it. But if I use it now, and I do use it when I feel the need to, it's not every day. Now quite often what I do is I'll create in my mind a vortex of light above my house, so that anything that is caught up in the net automatically goes up through this vortex, and it doesn't stop anything coming in, as in any good energy coming in. You can even put a sieve at the top to allow bad or dark energy to go, but good energy to come in. You can do it all sorts of ways, but I've only ever used the vortex to send energy out, I must admit, and I have found that very, very effective. It was quite it was like you said about putting the energy right under your feet. I think it's very important, because a lot of people, when they think of protecting themselves, they usually only protect around them. So good to get under, because even there was a very powerful one that I had used, and I have offered to other people where they've had problems with entities, is I think it was let Christ stand before me, behind me, to the left and to the right of me, above me and below me. So that is bringing in the Christ, you know, Jesus Christ energy in all those directions, so that you're protected. There are so many ways of doing it. It's whatever works for you, isn't it? And I think, you know, not knowing a lot about other beliefs, every belief will have their equivalent of what they recommend for you to protect yourself. But it doesn't always work. If one doesn't work, then just do something else. Use something else. Yeah, absolutely.
It's trial and error. It's like everything in life, isn't it?
Yeah.
Trial and error.
Excuse me.
There are, as you say, some protection that I feel. The one, like with me closing myself down and completely surrounding myself with light and everything.
Yes.
That, no, physically it works for me because I do feel better.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You feel it.
That's it. Yeah.
I feel myself changing.
Yeah. Totally. The proof is in the pudding, as they say. The proof is in the pudding.
Yeah. I can't think of any other ones that I've actually used. I think I tend to use the same tried and tested method.
Yeah.
You know, but you've had more experience because you've had to deal with that much more.
Side
of things.
You know, it's yes, I have. It's I remember once I was given a green shield from Spirit.
Right.
And when I asked why I was given this, I've just remembered how it came to me in this visualization. I was asleep, right? So this was how it came to me. I was asleep and there was a big red button in front of me. And I saw myself bash this big red button and it switched on a green shield that went right the way around me. And I was on this, I think, this sort of spaceship thingy in my dream. Anyway, when I woke up in the morning, the word green shield and the visualization were very, very strong with me. So I knew it was a message. And I looked up on our wonderful internet.
Good old people.
Spiritual protection of the green shield. And what came up was it protects you from the energy of the photon belt. And the photon belt in our galaxy, our universe, apparently that can interfere with just being corrected, bring distortions to visualization, messages from Spirit. It can bring distortions to it. It can interfere with like the incoming waves. So if you can imagine a television, and you know the old-fashioned television aerials used to get on top and you used to move that. So this is what I'm being given now at the moment. When you move that, quite often you used to get white, almost like snow across the screen where the transmission wasn't coming through. This is what Spirit is just saying to me now. This is what the green shield helps with. So if you are realizing that you are being affected by what's going on in the atmosphere and the universe, use the green shield, because that will help you. Now, I have to be honest, I know there are different colored shields for different colored things, but I've not used them and I've not looked into them. I might do that after tonight, actually. But obviously I haven't needed any other colors because they've not been brought into my awareness. But yeah, can recommend that. The other thing that I made a little list here, and the other thing that I was looking down was the suit of armour. So suit of armour. Quite often you'll hear the words, oh, she's got knives in her back or something. along that line, especially if you're going to like clairvoyant evenings or things like that. You know, you might hear that term, or you've got to protect yourself because there's knives in the back or arrows in the back. Yeah. So it might sound stupid to anyone that's only just beginning or hasn't got a clue what that means. So when you are sending bad thoughts to somebody, the thoughts that you send manifest on the astral realms into weapons, for want of a better word. So quite often you will be told to put a suit of armour on. So if there is anybody sending you bad thoughts for whatever reason, then whatever they're sending you cannot penetrate through to your astral body. So a good example of this was years and years ago. I had a very, very bad back. And it was actually not long after the psychic attack that we've already spoken about. And I went to an osteopath. And this osteopath was very spiritual and had an understanding. So we was talking about this and that. Anyway, I told her a little bit about what had been going on in my life. And she got me to come in for a special healing session. I went there one evening, cut a long story short, she said to me, lay on the couch, but lay face down so I can work on your back. She had one of these couches, and I don't know what they're called, but there's a sort of donut bit at the top, which you put your face in. Yeah?
It's a treatment therapy couch, yeah.
Right. So I'm laying like that. She says to me, go into a meditation. And I'm thinking, how the hell can I go into meditation in this position? Anyway, as usual, Spirit were very helpful. And with my eyes closed, they gave me the image of me swimming around in a clear pool. It was a rock pool. And as this woman was doing a treatment on my back, I suddenly had the image of two pieces of very, very sharp slate. Now, I don't know if you know, but slate is so sharp, you can cut yourself along the edge of it like glass.
Oh, yeah.
And, excuse me. As I saw these in this sort of image that Spirit gave me, I knew that they were just underneath my shoulder blades.
Right.
As I had that thought, the woman that was treating me went straight to the place where I knew that slate was, and she did some massage work and whatever else osteopaths do on that. And then when I finished, I turned over and I told her what had happened. I said I'd had this image of sharp slate and they were in just under my shoulder blade, exactly where you went to. And it was her that said to me, that is because the person that you have been dealing with, who was a very, very nasty and vicious person, had been sending me such bad thoughts, they'd actually manifested in the astral realms as sharp bits of slate and they'd got stuck in my astral body underneath my shoulder blades, and that's what was making my back pain even worse.
Wow.
So I had the ultimate proof then that, you know, everyone says, oh, what you send out, you know, be careful what you send out and all that, but I had the ultimate proof of what this woman had sent out to me and what it was doing to my body, which was really bad in one way, but really good in another way, because obviously if that hadn't happened, I wouldn't be able to teach about it or talk about it.
Exactly.
Totally understand. Another thing that I should mention, that I know we haven't spoken about, is there are lots of people that do a lot of work on the astral realms when they're asleep.
Yeah.
And some people do know that they're going to do that. And I've done that myself, and I've dealt with quite some nasty things on the astral realms. You can put on, before you go to sleep, an armour of light, and you can have a sword of light to go to sleep with, so that should you be on the astral realms, because there are people that do battle with otherworldly things, that you're already sounds stupid, but I've had my proof, so I've got to talk about it. So you're already suited up in preparation, because a lot of stuff happens just as you go to sleep, especially if it's something that you're going to remember. Quite often it will happen just on the verge of you going to sleep, and then you're straight into it. So yeah, that is a really good one. I don't know a lot about pagan stuff or Wiccan stuff. I'd like to, and I do feel drawn down that road quite a lot. But what I do know is, for anyone who's interested in that, the rowan tree and the rowan berries, if you feel that you need extra protection, to carry a little bit of rowan around with a couple of berries in a pocket in your purse, and with the intention that that brings the protection as well. So I know that does it, because that was given to me by a white witch. So that does it. And also, I believe blackberry and bramble. I have a feeling that in the ancient days, a lot of people used to go grow blackberries and brambleberries by their front doors to actually stop spirits coming in. Yeah.
And
so
salt.
Yes.
Salt is the one that also stops spirits coming in as well.
Yes, you're so right. And I've used that.
Is that right? Yeah.
Sorry?
Am I right? Salt by the window, the doors.
Yes.
Putting the salt across there.
Yeah.
Because I think someone's saying they're putting salt in the corner of the room. I think. I can't remember. But I know definitely across the door threshold. And the window. I know it's messy, but that
don't.
you know, and crystal.
Yes.
You know the crystals.
Yes. Yeah.
Black tourmaline.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Black tourmaline.
Black tourmaline. Yeah. I think I've got some here somewhere. No, it's probably downstairs. Yeah, there are, to be honest, I used to know quite a lot about crystals, but I've forgotten a lot, as you do. But yes, black tourmaline. Dragons, of course. You can call your dragons in to protect you.
You know, there's so many things, you know, whatever that you feel so comfortable with.
That's
in
it.
everything we do, we can call upon them. You know, it's the elementals, as you say, the dragons. We've got the crystal world. We've got the angelic world. We've got fairy. You know, it's one of them. All got protection.
Yes.
So, you know, don't just sort of not use them or whatever. You can call upon them.
Absolutely.
If you feel comfortable with them, they can protect you.
Totally.
You know, because
totally.
Each and everything has a power of their own.
Yeah.
And, definitely.
Yeah, I know with myself, because I'm very drawn down the Hindu route at times, I've used Goddess Kali, of course, who you can call on for protection. And if I remember rightly, she's usually portrayed with a black face or a very dark blue face, and she's quite ferocious and her tongue out. And if I remember rightly, she's either,
put anybody off.
yeah, she either carries a skull or something. She helps with protection, and also Lord Shiva, the destroyer, of course, he can help with protection. I can thoroughly recommend, if you're drawn to that route, you know, to look into it. Like you say, there's so much. You mentioned the salt. I don't know how I forgot about that. I had to deal with quite a frightening thing on the astral realms, with a witch that had troubled me through lots of different lives, stopping me coming into my power. And I remember the first time I interacted with her, I just thought it was a bad dream. But the first time I interact with her, I remember on this dream I was on a train and she was trying to get into the same carriage as me. The train, hang on, sorry. The train and the train tracks represent our different timelines. I now know, I didn't know that at the time, and our journey. And I never forget, because I wrote it down in one of my many notebooks. In my dream, I actually threw pink salt at her, like sea salt, salt crystals, but they were in the shape of hearts, but it was still salt. And I threw that at her, and I got her away from me. And then I dealt with that over a few times, you know, that's over and done with now. But another frightening episode that I had to deal with out of body, I never forget. I woke up, I won't go into it because it's too much at the moment, take too long, but I went downstairs, said my Lord's Prayer, the good old Lord's Prayer, I said, as soon as I woke up, flew downstairs, had a huge glass of water because I was a bit like that inside. Sat downstairs for about half an hour with a lit candle and calling in anyone and everyone for my protection. And then when I decided I was brave enough to go upstairs and back to bed, I got hold of I had some Himalayan salt down there. I got hold of it. I was at the time sleeping on the top bunk. I got this salt crystals. I sprinkled it all over my pillow. I could hear it go ting, 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 all down the bed, all over the pillow, all over my bed. And I got straight in bed and I slept, and I slept really well. But I was really worried about going to bed that night, I must admit. So yeah, I did use the salt more than a few times. Yeah, very effective. Very effective. Yeah. Well,
one of the things that we've been talking about, you know, we've been talking about the huge amount of negative and all that sort of thing. I didn't want everybody who listens to this video to sort of think, oh, is that spiritual? Is that all what it's about? But it's what we're just covering is what could happen, and it's what our experience is. It's actually happened to us, and the reason it's happened to us is because that we're learning. We're learning. We're being taught how to deal with it, so that we can teach other people.
Okay. Absolutely.
And we have the strength to deal with it. And we've chosen to undertake to do this. So that we can teach other people. So yes, as in all things that like job, life is always good and bad. You know. And it's not necessarily the bad that we dealing with all the time, because it's not. That we wanted to teach everybody that the way around it, and we just want
That's
to let
it.
you know
Yeah,
that you can deal with it, you can
yes,
overcome it,
yeah,
but you know, we do a lot of good work. There are a lot of brilliant spirits
absolutely,
out there, and you know,
absolutely. It's
yeah.
just like humans. There are humans that should know better, isn't it?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, like you say, it's not because everything is bad, because it most certainly isn't. It's just to make you aware of what can happen and what you can do about it, because it might you might never need any of these, which is absolutely brilliant. But
You might
if
meet somebody who going
yeah,
through it, and you say, "Ah, I know what I can do."
yeah,
You know.
absolutely, totally. So I think we've covered a lot of stuff. Um,
Yeah.
Obviously, there's loads and loads that's out there that we haven't covered because we don't know about it.
No, that's it.
One thing that I was going to say, Angela, other than the feeling out of sorts, can you think of any things that would tell somebody that the energy is not right, either with them or around them? For instance, with me, especially when I was running my groups, and even, well, not so much now, but years ago, because I used to use the Lord's Prayer a lot, I found, especially when I was running my groups, if ever I used the Lord's Prayer and I couldn't get through it, I knew there was an energy in the group that shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
And even in my dreams and astral travels, if I have to resort to the Lord's Prayer for anything and I can't get through it, I know that energy is not right. And
Yeah.
I'll do whatever it is I have to do. And then when I do the Lord's Prayer again, it flows really, really well. And I know that's fine. And another thing that I'm aware that you can get bad headaches when the energy is not right around you, especially in the temples or on the, like you're saying about your third eye, on your third eye. One thing that I found years ago, which actually looking back on it was quite funny, but at the time it wasn't, was I thought that my youngest boy, who's now coming up for 22, I thought that he had got a bad energy with him, because as soon as he came in from school, I got a horrendous smell of dog's mess. And we checked our shoes, nothing. We hadn't got a dog, so I couldn't blame the dog. There was nothing on the carpet. And all of a sudden, I thought, okay, he's got something, you know, it's a horrible smell. He's got something with him. So I started doing a little bit of work on him to remove what I thought he'd got. Anyway, little bit later on the same day, I'd done like the violet flame vocation, which we can do another video on if you want to remove entities from him, which I've done before in the past with it, only to hear my mum, who had passed away by then, apologise profusely. And she said it was her. And I said, what do you mean it's you? What had happened was my mum was very, very strict, quite Victorian. Ben had come in, thrown his school stuff on the settee. I'd said to him, can you put that away? And he ignored me, which is unusual because Ben's brilliant. 3 times I told him to do it. In a minute. Well, with my mum, you wouldn't have got away with that. You did it there and then. But of course, he was in a minute. The smell, the smell of dog's mess that I could smell was mum's fury because he wouldn't do what he's told. And it was only after I'd gone through all this violet flame stuff and everything else and thought, this is weird, that Mum actually, I didn't see her, but I heard her. She went, I'm really sorry. And I, she went, it's me. I went, what do you mean it's me? She went, I was so angry because he wouldn't do what you said. And obviously on an energetic level, anger is a very negative emotion. And that was why it created that smell.
Yeah.
She hadn't done it again.
No, I've not had that experience, I must admit. I mean, the only thing, like in a circle, there is one occasion where we had a lady come to join us for the first time. And the minute she walked through the door, I thought, no, this something is not right here. And I did all the protection of the house and everything, and I thought, I don't like this lady. I'm sorry for the lady, but you just know she's got something with her.
Yes.
And the person that she kept on, she was more interested in the what was it? Oh, when you go ghost hunting.
Oh yeah. That
sort of stuff. And she wouldn't actually join in the circle. She kept on going on about this ghost hunting. This is what she wanted to talk about. It's all to do with ghost hunting and what her experiences, what she did, and all this, that, and the other. And you know what? I found myself getting angrier and angrier, and I'm not a sharp person, you know. And I think I'm gonna have to stop this. I'm gonna have, I have to put a stop to this. And not only was I picking it up, afterwards when we was the rest of the people that were there at the circle, they also commented on it as well. They were feeling it.
Yeah.
She didn't believe in protecting herself when she was going out doing ghost hunting.
Right.
Didn't believe in it.
No.
So you can imagine she'd had so many attachments to her.
Yeah.
And she was taking them everywhere she was going.
Yeah.
And so, needless to say, we didn't allow that person to stay in the circle.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, it's horrible. It really was a horrible
thing. Yeah.
No, I haven't had anything like smells or anything, but
no.
But again, it's I felt I had a strong protector standing there, because I think that night I actually put an angel in the corner of the room.
Yes.
So I'm being aware that something was going.
That's it. If what I have found is, if it is part of your spiritual experience, to know about such things, then it's almost like you get a thought that you need to do something. Even before it happens, you'll get a sudden thought, because at the end of the day, spirit don't want to frighten you. They don't want to say, work with us, help us to help the world, help the universe, earth kind, whatever, and then frighten the blooming life out of you. But they do have to make you aware. So that is another reason why, if it's on your pathway, you will go through certain things. But then when you go through it and you understand it, then it makes a lot of sense. It does make a lot of sense.
Especially if you're becoming a teacher, because that's what we are. We're teachers. We have to have these experiences. And so we can teach and pass on our knowledge. I mean, because if everything is all sweetness and light, it's not the way life is.
No.
And I mean, I really do appreciate what they do teach us.
Yes.
so that we can then on our knowledge.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. That's
oh
it.
well, here we go. We could be talking this one all night. I
Yeah.
do like our chats.
I
really
know,
do.
they're brilliant, aren't they? It's
Yeah.
I think, you know, I think the fact is as well, we're making people aware, like, you know, just repeating what you said before, it's not to frighten people, it is to make people aware, and it's telling you what you can do to help yourself, you know, first and foremost, to help yourself, and then yes, help anyone else if they need it. So what I would like to say, Angela, is thank you very much for joining me again. It's been a delight. What I'd like to say to everybody else, which I try to remember to do at the beginning, but I totally forget, please like and share and subscribe to our videos. If you can share to as many people as you can think of, that will be great, because what we talk about, we would like as many people to see, to actually help them, and that's wonderful. If you have to, if you have anything you want to share, please comment, that'll be great, and either I or Angela or anyone else who's paying attention will be delighted to, you know, talk to you. And yeah, just enjoy your life, but just be aware there are loads that you can do to help your life be even better. So I think that's it then. So from me, a big good night, and good night to you, Angela, and we will catch up on the next video. Okay,
yes, looking forward to it.
Really good. Take care, everybody. Bye bye.
Yeah, take care, everybody. Bye.